You are really going to have to watch your bank account during this Taurus season. But this is not about what you think. Instead, it's about how you spend money in relation to your identity as a chosen one. During this time, the ancestors are truly beckoning us, guys, to focus on where we give out our resources, who we give them to, and why we are doing it. Because if we're not careful during this time, we can make some truly critical mistakes that can impact us for years to come. So when the sun comes around in Taurus on April 19, 2026, this is what you really need to pay attention to. So as we come into this energy, you're actually going to be feeling pretty good, right? You're going to be feeling like you have a sense of peace, right? About your long-term plans in particular. Okay, because some of you all are making some really great plans. You already made some great plans. We just did the full moon, new moon rather, reading in the sign of Aries that was on April the 17th. So, 2 days before this energy comes into effect. And during that particular energy, your mindset was about, what is going on with any new initiatives and new endeavors. And you kind of came to a place of being settled. Aries moving is fast. Aries energy rather is fast moving in and of itself. But, by the time we got to that new moon, it started to slow down and you started to really think through and gather information about whatever new initiatives that you started. So you're probably feeling pretty good about what's going on. So there was maybe some shadows cast or what have you, because we do have this rainbow energy here. So a lot of times because of the rainbow, you're going through some things, but here we go. We're entering into a time of joy and happiness, right? After the rainfall has left us with what we need to cultivate, whatever our projects and whatever things are going on. And you seem to be really full with your spiritual path. Some of you all are really connected with your spiritual team, even so during this time when you were really thinking about your plans and the projects and the things that are going on, and it caused you maybe to get closer to your spiritual team during that particular energy, because you were going through a lot and you realized, hey, I need some deeper level information and insight, and I need to really hold on to my ancestors. I really need to hold on to, the energies that are around me and commune with them. And for many of you all, that actually looked like you, just going deeper in your spiritual connection. So it worked out for the best, right? And so you are coming into this energy at a little bit slower pace, happier pace, right? So we got Taurus energy. Taurus energy is all about, taking our time, being patient, but also just enjoying the beauty in life. And that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be focused on things that are going to, bring you this long lasting happiness and joy. And so that is going to surround whatever new endeavors or initiatives that you may have even so taken on when Aries was in effect. And you're definitely thinking about the longevity of those endeavors right now. You've been thinking about it, right? And so at this time, it's time to put that plan to action and really, really strategize, okay? However, you are being held up a little bit when it comes to finances here. Now, Taurus energy is definitely about, financial wherewithal. It's about practicality. Taurus loves to budget and plan and, make that money stretch. Taurus loves to enjoy luxury, but because it is a money sign, it helps us to get the money that we need so that we can live in abundance. So that energy is more than just about, here we go, I just, got the money or what have you, but it's also about planning and strategizing about the money. And herein, you are going to be really, really thinking about your financial situation, and you're going to put some boundaries around that energy, really some boundaries around your finances. And it's going to be more so about how you give to other people, because you're thinking about long term. How can I enjoy myself, especially with these new endeavors that came up during that time? So for some of you all, that actually look like a maybe a business venture that you planned or you went into, or you maybe changed your course of action within an existing business. Okay. And for others of you all, like I said before, it might be relationship dynamics, and it could definitely be a new job opportunity, what have you. Whatever that connection was, it did relate to your finances, or it will relate to your finances at some point in the future. And herein, your thought pattern during this time with the sun in Taurus is going to be all about, how can I make my money work for me so that I can enjoy my life in the way that I desire to do so. For some of y'all, that's definitely enjoying luxury and the finer things in life, just holistically. For some, it's really just about getting out of a rut, just like maybe you've been in a stagnant position financially, and now you're coming into a space where you're making a little bit more money, but you have other factors, people more so, kind of tugging at you. You might feel an obligation towards your family or what have you, to the point where you're thinking about, how can I work this out to where I can really and truly enjoy these blessings that are coming towards me, and not overextend myself and not give to others in a way that is going to be detrimental to me in the long run, because I want to enjoy some of my money too. And, this is the thing about being a chosen one, because we are really, really giving and charitable, but we also need to set boundaries around that sometimes. And that's what this energy is doing right here, saying you got to set those boundaries around, your sense of giving, so that you can actually enjoy your life. And the thing I love about this energy is that you will be very cognizant of it during this time. You're going to be thinking about it, and you're going to take some actionable steps to do something about it. And that is going to look like telling some people no, right? That is going to look like you stepping back from that, always giving, always sacrificing yourself and your things and your time, your energy, your money, etc. And it is also beyond just finances, but that is a heavy player in this particular energy. And the ancestors are definitely saying, you need to work with your shadow self during this time. You're going to need to work with that energy if you have challenges. If you're the type of person that has issues with, over giving and overextending yourself, if you have those types of issues, like I said before, with saying no to people, they're saying that you are going to have to really deal with that aspect of your energy, or your essence, because if you don't, you are actually going to cause yourself some problems. You are going to diminish what you have, and it's going to impact your self-worth and how you feel, all right, about yourself, if you don't stand up for yourself during this time and say no to those people. You're going to be feeling the energy anyway, but it's up to you what you do about it, right? You're going to feel it internally. And some of you all, may make a decision to say, I'm standing, firm on my ground. I am not going past my limitations, because I really need to make sure that I have things in place for me and mine, right? And some of you all may overstep a little bit. You may, get somebody nagging at you and just keep asking you for money, or keep asking you for your help otherwise. And maybe you told them no a few times, and they just keep going, because maybe in the past they were able to penetrate you through repetition, just asking, and you might give in. But the ancestors are giving you a fair and strong warning right now to be careful about giving to people during this time, because some of you all are really going to regret it for the long haul, right? Not necessarily forever, but some of this energy, if you don't pay attention to that aspect of yourself, you may be in a strait for about a couple of years. Okay. Hereafter, if you give out of a place where you truly don't have it to give, either physically or even emotionally, right? So you might have it like money in your bank account that somebody's asking you for, but you're in an emotional place where this is not a good thing for you. But if you cross that boundary, the ancestors are saying that you will regret it for some time to come, right? Because we got to even here look at this. We got the moon coming up, and it's actually in a good position, because they are saying that you need to listen to your intuition here. I do like this. But anytime this card comes out, you are hard pressed in your thoughts, and sometimes it could be some not so great energy, especially talking about full moon. That lunar energy is said to kind of drive us mad or crazy, especially when the moon is there. And you see on this card, they're howling at the moon. Okay, but the good thing here is this is actually about your intuitive body, and the ancestors are saying, take your time, listen to yourself, go deep within. Okay, listen to what your higher self, your Ori, is actually telling you during this time, because if you do, you will enjoy the beauty of life for some time to come. All right, because we know energy always shifts, so it's not like it's permanent, but you will be able to enjoy this time of your life if you really pay attention to your intuition and you listen from within, and you do answer that call, right? Because their energy is going to be telling you, pay attention to those shadow aspects of yourself. Get some help if you need to, right? Even get some deeper clarity if you need to. You need to get an ancestor reading, guys. We definitely offer that at a Sunny 44 spiritual investigation. We do IFA divination, but I'm always careful on this channel because I know I have people of all different walks watching this channel. IFA divination. Divination is a specific pathway that belongs to the IFA tradition. So I implore you to learn more about that before getting that type of reading. Grandly helpful, right? Because it can help you in that way if you are struggling with setting those boundaries and keeping those boundaries, because you can get the reading and do the ritual work, which involves animal sacrifice, and balance out your energy if you do struggle in that way. But just know what you're doing when you go down that path. So, you can definitely get a read from the ancestors and ask them if you are unsure, you're in a space where you're like, I really want to help out this individual, right? But that it's not going to be beneficial for you or them if you do so. Because, some of you all know that you're in situations where you're actually enabling people, but you keep doing it anyway because you have this soft, loving, giving, kind heart where you often sacrifice yourself for the sake of other people. Okay. They are saying, like we do have some chariot energy, and it is like winning energy. However, it looks like it's going to be some energy that's going to be really, really moving swift during this time. All right. And you're going to need to move with it as we transition out of the Taurus, the Taurus, the sun rather, as we transition out of the sun in Taurus energy, right? By the time we get to the end, it does look like victory for you if you did the things that we talked about here. All right. The ancestors are saying, and pay attention to this, you are going to see some victorious energy, but they're saying that you gotta stay on top of it, guys, right? if you don't stay on top of it, if you don't maintain this dedication, because it's not just for this time frame, they're saying this is energy that you need to keep on, with. And some of you all are going to really have to deal with it depending on the energetic aspects in your chart and how they impact you, how you live, right? So some of you all are really, really going to have to continuously work with it, but you will see a beneficial outcome. Some definitely by month's end, but it can also come thereafter, especially as we enter into May, probably by the end of May, right? Even so, June, for some of you all, you're going to see the victory that you want to see in this area and whatever new project that you are working on that you just started. So, if you stick to your guns, if you just got a new job, if you just got if you just started making more money in your business endeavors or what have you, if you stick to your guns, if you stick to your gumption, right, and do what you need to do, guys, then you will see a beneficial outcome. Now we're going to look at the respective areas of things that you really need to be, focused on, or what the energy is going to be when it comes to, your generational work during this time frame, when it comes to your sacred well-being, when it comes also to any type of relationship patterns or cycles or things that you're dealing with, and then also finally, the financial wherewithal. So let's see where this energy is taking us. All right, they're telling us, you have to do some rebirth, and we already talked about that when it comes to the generational work as a chosen one. You're going to have to be very transformative during this time and embrace the transformation that the cosmos is trying to get you into, especially, like I said before, when it comes to those dynamics of giving and, sacrificing yourself for the sake of others. They're saying this is a time of true transformation that you need to pay attention to, because it's going to shape your life for a while now, because 2026 as a whole is a very transformative year, as I've said before. But even so, you're coming off of a time where you just started something new, and how that's going to shape you for a while to come, not even just through 2026, even beyond 2026, right? This is long-reaching rebirth energy that the ancestors are bringing us, and they're saying it's time to end those patterns that you've had where you have not been able to set and maintain boundaries. They're saying really dig into that aspect of it. So during this time, guys, do some shadow work, okay? Really get into, maintaining those aspects of yourself. I'm going to try to actually link some resources, because people have asked me about resources for doing shadow work. So I'll try to link some down below if I don't forget. If I do, guys, you watching this, just, put in the comments and say, please send us those resources for doing the shadow work, because that is going to be very much so paramount in your journey. Right? And I think I'm actually going to do like a setup on my Amazon, so that, I can just link it to one. I can just give you out one link, and it'll have different resources where you can kind of see what's going to be good for you when it comes to shadow work. I'll try to plan that soon. So let's see. Also, this is interesting as well when it comes to our sacred well-being. So that you're going to be dealing with a little bit of friction here when it comes to your health dynamics. So they are saying that you really, really need to take care of your health, because your energy could potentially be scattered, because you are going through some changes, and it may cause you some anxiety. It even so could lead to depression in some cases when it comes to you trying to set boundaries, because what this energy is heavily about, setting boundaries, especially in terms of how you give financially. The energy is heavily pointed to finances, okay? Not even just giving up your time and yourself. That's important too. But we always look at what's going on cosmologically, and that's what it's saying right now. And so they're saying it's really, really important that you take deep care of yourself, because you may feel some energetic shifts that can get you off balance. So look at some herbal supplements and things like that that can keep you grounded. I always suggest, people who have troubles with like regulating their serotonin and their dopamine levels and things like that. I always recommend St. John's Wort. I'll probably put a link there too. I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe put the links in the video or what have you, so it'll be kind of up top if I can do that. Okay. So anyway, I encourage you guys to look into those types of things. Take care of yourself, get plenty of exercise, get out in nature too, right? As you can, try to spend as much time as you can out in nature, get plenty of exercise, rest, water, the basics. If you're into supplements, herbs, I love herbs, and I always encourage people to, take some herbal teas and things like that. So they're saying just really focus on your holistic health, because there's a lot of movement that's going to cause friction. It can get you off balance health wise, guys. So when it comes to relationships, this is all about you, right? And that's what I've been saying here. This is, the wounded healer energy. So they're saying like you need to focus on you during this time. What is going to be best for your healing? Okay, when I say focus on you, this is not about being selfish. This is about what do you need to do to heal from patterns or behaviors that are keeping you stuck in cycles, that are keeping you from advancing and progressing in life, especially in the financial realm, because some of you are constantly giving to other people and just thinking about, other people more so than you're thinking about yourself. It reminds me of a post I saw the other day on Threads where, this woman was saying that she felt bad because she could not house one of her friends who had recently become homeless, right? And so she had her son, and her son was even sleeping on the couch, and she didn't have much herself. And she said the friend stopped speaking to her and so forth and so on. Everybody in the comments was telling her, you don't have to focus on other people. If you can't take care of yourself, just chill and relax. And, every comment she just rebutted with, yeah, but I want to care for her. I love my friend. And, it was this, from what I was getting, this really type of, Piscean energy coming through. Definitely, chosen was energy, because she was more focused on her friend than she was herself. And in that example, I use it to say it's not that you can't help anybody at all, because even people were telling her that, like, okay, if you want to help her, it's not time for her to come live in your house, because the issue was like she didn't have the space, and her son didn't really want anybody else there because he was already on the couch and he would be uncomfortable. And they were saying, like, you don't have to have this person in your house, right? You can help other ways. You can, point her in the direction of resources, even so maybe buy a meal, or, if you got that kind of money. And that is the kind of energy that we're going to be seeing here, where it may be a tug of war between those aspects of your life, where you want to help people, but maybe you're purposely even so put in a position where you can't help other people because your spiritual team is forcing you into a space where you have to learn those critical lessons. So you may not be able to help other people, financially, especially. And you have to make a decision, and in that you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to just say, I can't do this. But it's not going to be this way long term. Instead, they're putting you in this position so that you learn vital lessons to where you're not the one that has to help everybody, and then you get a chance to see people's reactions when you can't help them or when you tell them no, right? Right. The ones that stay around, they're still with you because they understand they were truly with you. The ones that leave, they weren't with you in the first place. And, the ancestors are trying to teach you those critical lessons here. All right. So I think this even came out recently and it's coming up in the financial sector. Herein, when it comes to your finances during this time, the ancestors are saying to really focus on the things that you are truly passionate about, because that is going to bring you a whole lot of joy and also financial abundance. Okay. So for some of you all, it's going to be even so tricky where you're feeling like, you're being told to reach out and like start a business or something like that, or even so a side hustle, and you may feel like you are not prepared for that reality, even so financially, but you may be miserable on your job or whatever you're doing at present, but you don't want to leave that because that is a source of finance for you, even though it may not even be the finances that are actually bringing you like what you truly need to live. You may just be surviving off of whatever you have in that way, but the ancestors are saying you're just surviving because you're not really where you need to be. You're not aligned with the financial aspects of where you were designed to be, but you're scared to step out, right? It might not even just, I shouldn't just say a business, right? Because it's going to be so many scenarios. Some of you are, they're saying it's even situations where, it's another career field, but you might be afraid of what it takes to go down that path. Maybe you have to go back to school. Maybe it's going to take you a few years to get there, and going to school, you might have to give up some things when it comes to your finances. I mean, your job, rather, or even so your free time. And they're saying stop being afraid and really step out and focus on what's in your heart space, guys, because that is going to help you out to get to where you need to be financially. So for some of you all, especially chosen ones, like business is usually going to be a very important thing for you, even if it's a side hustle, because many of you all need that outlet to step out and work for yourself so that you can have that freedom and independence that you need to fully flourish in your gifts and your talents and your abilities, right? As a generational healer. So herein we are going to pull out the medicine for this time, for this, Sun and Taurus energy from April the 19th through May the 19th. And we're going to see what the ancestors are telling us to do here. Okay, here. Getting the wrong cards, guys. I pull a certain way. Very strategic. So let's see. What are they telling us here? So we got bones reverse. Huh. That's interesting. All right. They're saying don't resist the transformation that you're going through. That is the key here, is to not resist, not go against what is happening, because some of you all are going to try to hold on to the past. You're going to try to hold on to familiarity. All right. And they're saying for you to not do that, because it's not going to bring you any type of success or progress that you really need to be focused in on this time. That's it. Don't resist it. All right. Herein, they want you to be joyful. They want you to celebrate. They want you to be happy. Go out and do some things. Enjoy your life during this time. Whatever brings you pleasure, so many different things for so many different people. It could literally be dancing as we see here on this card. But for some of you all, it could just be enjoying a very sensual meal. For some of you all, it could look like travel. It could be short distance travel, longer distance travel, international, whatever it may be. For some of you all, it's just literally just spending time in nature, looking at the abundance of nature. There's so many different things, right, for every different person, but your ancestors are saying they want you to celebrate. They want you to celebrate even if you don't see something worth celebrating during this time. For many of you all, you will, because we already saw this coming in. But even if you don't see it during this time frame, they're saying celebrate as if you do see it. All right, practically, because I'm not saying, just go out and spend a bunch of money that you don't have to spend. There are many ways that we can celebrate and enjoy ourselves, but the goal here is to reward yourself. Enjoy the beauty of life during this time, family. Okay? During this time, chosen ones, rather. Enjoy the beauty in life. And they're also saying protect yourself. Protect yourself in many ways. Protect your peace. They are really saying protect your peace of mind. If it's anything, anybody, any situation that is bringing you grief, headache, overwhelm during this period, you need to figure out ways to shut it out. You really and truly need to do that for yourself, because it's going to cause you more problems than you need at this time. There's certain times it's always great to have peace of mind, but there are certain times where we can handle anxiety more so than at other times, depending on our situation. But they're saying here it is so vital for you to protect your peace of mind. Herein, guys, I'm going to pull the words of wisdom before we close up, okay? So, what are the ancestors saying? Free spirit is coming out, okay? To be a free spirit is to float without walls, to fly without judgment, and to love without conditions, okay? They want you to free yourself, and we've been talking about that. They want you to free your mind, free yourself from things that are keeping you stagnant, that are holding back your growth. All right, free yourself from people or situations that are not conducive to you really and truly embracing your divine purpose and your destiny, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close up the message here. As always, guys, Ashe. Please have a very blessed and beautiful day and beyond.